pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of June 2nd, 2015.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Oh, you misspelled that, please.
Morning, Heidi.
Good morning. Financials today include a supplemental appropriation for the Job and Family Services Public Assistance Fund, put appropriations in place for state grant funded travel, cash transfer out of the general fund for a portion of 2015 funding for court technology, travel requests for the clerk of court's office and the Department of Job and Family Services, payment to Court View Justice Solutions for annual software support, maintenance, and database support for court technology in the amount of $7,407.50. Payment number 1 to Miller Buildings for the salt storage building project for the engineer's office in the amount of $127,092. And payments to Junction Auto Sales for the purchase of a 2015 GMC Terrain for the Department of Job and Family Services in the amount of $21,825.50. And the 2015 GMC Era 2500 for the Sheriff's Office in the amount of $21,000.
Heidi, I should have asked you when I talked to you earlier, that payment number 1 for the salt storage building, how many payments are there?
Well, it's the total project is 400, I mean, it'll just be,
Yeah.
you know, as they go
Okay, so they're
along.
not gonna be equal payments.
No.
I was
They're
gonna
just
say, if you
sending
take
them
4
invoices.
payments times that, it's gonna be over the number they gave us.
Right, no, this is just for specific items they're billing
Okay,
for.
okay,
But
so
this
it's,
is just the first payment that they're making.
all right, thank you.
And Dave, our payment back on this, from the insurance company on
Oh,
the general fund, on the thing, what is it? 50. It's gonna be 50?
that was on that.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you, Heidi.
Okay, so it's not the battery. Replace the battery in that. It's not the battery, it's your speaker.
Good morning.
It's a speaker
It's
that's
your
making it?
electrical component going into your speaker.
Is that a maintenance issue?
It's a speaker issue, you just need
Oh.
a new one.
I only said that because Glenn just sat on top of it.
Sitting over top of it.
It's a
Keep that
speaker
speaker quiet.
Yeah.
Well, you're sitting there, man, aren't you?
Just hold it and pull it. Good morning. Okay, so we had posted our site coordinator position for our Chardon Senior Center. And after interviewing, we found a good candidate, Christine Bacon. She has over 15 years' experience doing recreational programming. She's worked in assisted living, long-term care facilities, programming for seniors. She's a certified activity professional and she has attended coursework on programming. She specializes in technology, which we were really excited about, being that we just had Wi-Fi installed throughout our entire building now. She does a lot with Apple TV, Apple products, even recreational games. She will use flat screen TVs to project programs. So we were very excited with her skill set. So we'd like to recommend her for hire beginning June 29th.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve hiring Christine Bacon to the position of full-time site coordinator number 1004 to be effective June 29, 2015 at a rate of $18.03 per hour. After the successful completion of a 108-day probationary period, the rate will increase to $18.97 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Claypool?
Second thing on our agenda is we filled out a request for proposal for the grant for the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging funding. What this would be is funding through Title 3E and 3B. This covers transportation services. We use this funds for our Alzheimer's clients to come to the senior center for adult daycare. It also includes Title 3D, which is funds that we use for evidence-based health programs such as chronic disease management, matter of balance, arthritis classes. Do you have any questions about this grant?
I don't.
I came all prepared with information too. Well, just so you know. Well,
Since
just
you
so
brought it.
you know.
We want to steal your thunder.
The state of Ohio funds are provided through the Senior Community Service State Subsidy, and the federal funds are provided through the Administration on Aging, which is the principal agency for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, so.
Good job.
Just so
And
you know.
just so you know, I looked this up before you showed up.
Oh, that's.
That's the reason I had no questions. I'm big into reading the titles, so.
Yeah. So any question, and this will generate, in total, between the three different, funding sources, about, $267,000 roughly. So that's what we're looking at.
There's multiple copies there.
And, you know, we did not include the 279-page financial audit for you to peruse through, so hope you didn't mind.
This is why our government costs so much.
Once we go to computers, it'll save a lot of paper.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute all documents included in the grant proposal application for 2016 through 2017, Title 3E and Title 3B for transportation, and Title 3D for evidence-based health programs to the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
If I say aye, I have to sign all this stuff, don't I?
Well, you said there's multiple copies? So should he sign all three?
I think so. And this is for the president of the board only. Your vote is
There's
just
four
yours,
there,
I'm
4 or 5 there.
Hey, someone had to fill out all.
Ralph and I are going for lunch.
So, next, we actually have another retirement. So Mary Ann Van Pelt, she has submitted her retirement notice. Her last day will be July 31st, 2015.
How many years has she
She started in 1981, November of 1981, so
That's
34 years.
34 years.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board accept the retirement resignation of Mary Ann Van Pelt, site coordinator, to be effective July 31st, 2015.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Now what will be happening is she is at the Middlefield Senior Center. Upon her retirement, Amber Weinhardt, she's currently the site coordinator at Chagrin Falls Park. She will be transferring to Middlefield. They have the same job title and the same job description. So our opening for site coordinator will be at Chagrin Falls Park. So that's the physical position that we will be filling. So we would like to post this internally because when we went through our Chardon Senior Center applications, we did have some internal interest. So we would like to give an opportunity to see if there's anyone in-house who might be able to handle Chagrin Falls Park. It's slightly smaller clientele with less volunteers, so it would be a good opportunity for someone to step up.
Department on Aging is requesting the board grant permission to advertise internally for the position of full-time site coordinator number 10044 for a period of 5 days.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Have a nice day. Morning, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
I'm here today for the board to approve and execute the subordination agreement for the mortgage for Mark and Diana Dunleavy Super. They are the owners of Zepsta, which is a revolving loan fund client that we brought through a few months ago. The reason for the subordination, we do this quite often. Once the SBA is done doing their end of it and everything's dispersed and their business is whole and they're now doing that, we have to subordinate to the bank, so we'll be behind the bank now. We don't wait because we obviously want a position as soon as we start lending money, because that's why we do the subordinations.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and execute the subordination agreement real estate mortgage with Lake National Bank and SBA U.S. Small Business Administration for Diana Dunley Sufer and Mark J. Sufer for property located at 17364 Sugar Hill Trail, Sugar Falls, in connection to the revolving loan fund loan for Zested Incorporated.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you. Come on down.
You all got that grin on your face this morning, like.
Just try to help Ralph out there so he doesn't get lost.
This is for our new boiler down at our county home. This only takes care of the one building where Karen lives in and her office is in. This is not that resident, taking care of the whole building. As you know, there's two buildings down there. The boilers and everything's under the one building. Like that is an 1800 building that side. What we wanna do is move that boiler over to the other building that she's in, and this is gonna help us, and that's a 1962 or 63 boiler. And so this is gonna do a lot for us, energy-wise and everything. So-
This is a lot of money, $30,000. Would a change in the heating system be, I hadn't looked at this before coming in here, but have we considered other alternatives?
Yes, we have.
I mean, I put a $5,000 furnace in my home, I think, wow, that's a lot of money, but.
Your home is probably forced air. This is a steam boiler. We'll go in and replace everything in this whole house and go in and replace all the lines and everything. It would have been a whole lot more.
This is gas fired?
Yes. And she has that, those wells on that property, so she gets, we'll say, what was it, about 40 or 50% of her fuel from the well.
gas is from the well and the
Yeah.
property, it's declined over the years, but she's still
Does
considered.
this unit provide the domestic hot water as well?
No, it does not.
They have water heaters for that, so this is just for the heating?
That's just for the
Okay.
heating.
Okay.
The Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve and execute a service contract agreement with Geauga Mechanical to renew existing boiler and install new boiler at the county home for the year 2015 in an amount not to exceed $29,950.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
And one last question, I should have asked it before, Glenn. How many square foot is that building? Do you know offhand?
Right off the top of my head.
Okay,
no,
don't,
but
okay.
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, I know it's a good-sized building.
Correct. Yeah, that's 2 floors there.
Right, and it's probably not insulated well, and it's probably not a lot of things.
That's another, one of our old buildings.
Right.
200 something, so. But slowly getting things done to it and getting it out.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, I just thought, I didn't know how big that building, I mean, I have a visual,
Right.
but I don't know what the number
Right.
is.
I'll get that number for you. Square footage.
Okay, when you have time.
Okay.
Yeah, when you, put it on your list.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm covering for Mike Casper, he's in a conference in Columbus for the next couple of days. Robert Straight, part-time driver, been there a number of years, and he decided to retire and travel with his wife. So the first action is to accept his resignation, and the second action is to request to advertise for 2 positions. One would be to replace Mr. Straight, and there would just be the provide extra flexibility for Mike and his schedule.
The Transit Department is requesting the board accept the resignation of Robert Straight, part-time driver, to be effective July 1st, 2015.
I'll make the motion.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Claypool? The Transit Department is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for 2 positions of part-time driver number 2210-1. These positions will remain posted until filled.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Morning, Adrian. Morning, Commissioners.
Hi, evening. What we have here today is just a service contract with a company called PCS. And we currently have another contractor that we have for this, but they're a relatively small outfit. It's been kind of difficult to schedule with them, so maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, we endeavored to find another company to do this for us and help us with that. And they're gonna be, they're actually headquartered out of Michigan, but they have a Cleveland office. So they're within a half-hour emergency response time to McFarland. So they're gonna be helping us install new computer controls for the membrane bioreactor mechanisms at McFarland, as well as programming and installing the new SCADA software. So this is basically telemetry and control systems for McFarland. So, and we've set aside for 25 days worth of on-site work from them. So it's a pretty good company, and it's the one that Mike and George and Jerry and Doug and everybody kind of agreed on was probably the best option for us at this time.
It's a very complex type of startup
Oh, for sure.
to do this kind of a system, with this kind of a flow rate.
This is the new membrane.
Yeah, for the new memory.
This is the membranes have been replaced or something, right?
No. That's a separate project
Oh,
that we're
okay.
doing. This is just
Controls
to,
update.
yeah.
Okay.
Some of the controls and some of the different things down there are a little bit outdated, so they're getting ready too for the new membranes and stuff, so this is gonna be part of that too, just kind of updating everything and getting it to the newest technologies that are out there, so.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and execute the service contract agreement with PCS Process Control Services to perform 25 days of on-site PLC, HMI, SCADA programming services for the McFarland wastewater treatment plant for the period July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016, in an amount not to exceed $29,080.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And I'll cover the next 2. This first one, number 12, is every year we do a tax budget hearing, part of the process. We asked the departments to all input their information or requests in the tax budget in the New World system. We still have a couple departments that haven't completed all their input, but we expect to have those all in by the end of this week. Heidi will then generate the worksheets and budget documents, so you folks will have plenty of time to review before the budget hearing. But we do an advertisement that the tax budget hearing will be held on the 30th of June here during session, and we make the tax budget, proposed tax budget, available at the auditor's office for public inspection. So this action is just for you to approve the advertisement for the budget, tax budget hearing.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board grant permission to advertise to hold a public hearing to discuss the Geauga County 2016 tax budget to be held on Tuesday, June 30th, 2015 at 9:45 a.m. Notice of this public hearing will be advertised on June 18th, 2015 and on the county website.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
The next action is for you to consider approving the agreement to provide professional consulting services with Maximus Consulting. The Central Services Cost Allocation Plan is something that's done every year. The primary reason for having a plan like this is it allows us to charge departments that are not in the general fund for the services that they get from the general fund agencies such as this office. A lot of it's the auditor for all the accounting work that the auditor does for them, the treasurer, prosecutor. So this plan allows us to do the calculations that are acceptable under federal audit, because a lot of times this is, like for JFS, this is federal money that's then going to be reimbursed to the county's general fund to cover the cost of providing the support services for these departments. We've used Maximus for many years, since before I was here. Their cost has not changed for many years, it's $11,000. This year we actually had a second vendor come and offer a alternative. They don't have a real strong track record yet, and even though it would have saved us a little money, we thought we might look at that alternative vendor again next year once they have a little more of a track record. But again, Maximus hasn't changed the fee for some time. This allows us to draw down about, I think it's around $400,000 worth of cost allocation reimbursed back to the general fund, and Maximus does all that work for us.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the agreement to provide professional consulting services with Maximus Consulting Services Incorporated for services rendered in the development of the county's central services cost allocation plan for year 2015 in an amount of $11,000.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
And just as a matter of note, I beat Dave up pretty good over this. One day, we went over this in his office. I talked to Maximus guys. My interest would have been in unplugging this, but after going through all the discussions, it seemed like it was a workable deal. So I'm not excited about it. I'd like to find other alternatives, but certainly it's something we need to do, and there's not a good, attractive alternative.
Not yet, but it's
Not
always
yet.
good to look for the alternatives.
So, but it's good to ask the questions.
Yep.
So anyway,
Yep.
so aye. What do we got up next?
The Chardon Chamber of Commerce wants to use the parking lots at the courthouse and the pit parking lot for the use during their annual car and bike show.
Anybody from the chamber here? Just doing this ourselves, right?
And just so you know, we also have an insurance certificate. The insurance certificate was
Right.
attached, and it was approved by the prosecutor.
That's for the chamber. You'll get the
I haven't got it.
receipt. Well, no, they don't, their insurance premium comes due in July, so that's when they'll get the new policy. But there'll be another one of these requests to follow for a date in August for the Chardon Community Action Team car show. And all it is that they park cars in those lots, show cars in the lots.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the agreement between the Geauga County Board of Commissioners and Chardon Chamber of Commerce for use of the county parking lots located at 100 Short Court Street and 208 East Park Street during the Chardon Chamber of Commerce 6th Annual Car and Bike Show on June 28, 2015, for the period 9 o'clock a.m. through 4 o'clock p.m.
Make that motion.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. I've seen some sort of a three-wheel car driving around. It's got two wheels in the front, one wheel in the back, two-seater side by side. I don't know what that
It's
is.
like Can-Am, I think. You see that advertised on TV.
Well,
It's like
that's a
Can-Am
motorcycle.
Yeah, but
This
it's
is not a
it's a
motorcycle.
trike, but
This
it's
is
got, yeah, it's got two wheels in front and a single in the back. Yeah,
But it's a side by side. It's not a motorcycle where you
right,
sit.
right. No, it's side by side.
Is it Can-Am?
What color
I believe
was
that
it?
is Can-Am.
What color was it?
Well, I've seen two now. One was kind of a yellowish and the other one was red.
Because there's a guy down on East Washington, had a red one in his garage, I saw.
You're actually pretty cool looking. I'll check into that, see what that was all about.
As long as you don't get hit by some redneck in a 4x4.
Same thing with a motorcycle. I mean, I wouldn't be, I do well in my little Mini, so. All right, what do we got next? We're honoring?
Do you want to?
This is just, this is a resolution to honor Ann Fairhurst, who had headed up since, what, 2008, was it? What's the, yeah, the resolution. But the Cleveland Foundation has a Lake Geauga fund, which is specific to helping entities out here in this area. And she headed up that part, and she's stepping down now, so this is just to honor her. I guess they're having some sort of ceremony for her.
Who's gonna fill that seat when she?
Have not heard.
Everybody knows?
She's been there since August of '07, Dave.
Okay.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-075 honoring Ann Fairhurst for her dedication and support of Geauga County through the Lake Geauga Fund and Cleveland Foundation.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
All right.
This resolution is the resolution for the designation with Ashley Lewis for your application for the WIOA for the NOCOG.
Okay.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-076 for the purpose of requesting designation of a workforce development area, including Ashtabula and Geauga counties pursuant to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, 2014.
This is necessary because it was Ashtabula, Geauga, and Portage. And Portage has designated that they wanted to leave here and go with, I want to say it's Medina.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure who they want to go with, but
this-
we have to apply for one ourselves. We're not sure that we'll get it. I rather doubt that we will. I imagine the government, the state will step in and say, you can't be there, and then we have,
It'll be another one.
yeah, limited options, possibly Lake County or Trumbull County. But we're not in the driver's seat here. Somebody else is pushing the.
Yeah, I think it's a good first step. I mean.
Well, yeah, that's we have to go and say, well, yeah, we'll go on it on our own.
The application was actually in, at the end of May, and they, at the last minute, decided that they wanted resolutions from the counties to submit with the application. And because that was done like the day before the applications were supposed to be in, they extended this through the 12th. So this actually would be go through with your application that's already currently in. And Craig feels that when we hear back from them based off of that application, that there will be a follow-up resolution then for that other designation.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool? Coming up from. Get it, Linda. I didn't know she was coming up for this one, because I wasn't involved in this part of this, so.
For the mental
This
health.
is for the mental health.
Number 17.
I can if you want me to. Sure.
I do have copies for you, so in case you didn't have them in front
I
of
was
you.
just here because I found in my job description that I'm supposed to attend these meetings, so that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Do-
I really kind of feel like Commissioner Claypool was driving this process, and I was just kind of assisting. I know that you guys are responsible for a number of board appointments, and Commissioner Claypool felt it would be helpful to have a sort of a guiding document to help you guys zero in on the sort of people you would want to be on the mental health board, so we put together this document. I did a draft, and then he fixed it, and then Laura fixed it, and then he fixed it again, and then here we are.
Product of a lot of fixing.
Yes.
Well, there was a source document, which was the past rec document. I think that's where you got it originally, wasn't it?
No,
Or
I
did you
wrote
start
it.
from the beginning?
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
drafted it
I
from
thought it
scratch.
was from the past.
I made it up.
Well, good job in the beginning, so. So-
You know, just looking for general guidance in what sort of things a person should understand about being on a board before being on a board. And then we kind of expanded from there. And then Laura looked at the law, and that's the purpose of this document. She felt it would be beneficial if you were going to be using this guide, that you would approve it as a board.
Thank you. Read it.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the Geauga County Board of Commissioners informational document relating to Geauga County Board of Mental Health and Recovery Services appointments made by the Geauga County Board of Commissioners.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Before I vote aye, I just want to say, I think that anything like this is still modifiable. I mean, none of this is in chiseled granite, so
No.
if anybody sees anything in this after this get-together and feels strongly we need to change it or something, I'm okay with that. So, I mean, with that, I'll vote aye. But, I mean, this is a work in progress, so.
Thank you.
To that, can I ask then what your next step in the process is, whether you want to advertise or do a press release? Your board appointments for mental health are up at the end of June. In the original, when I asked about the advertising and press release was because you wanted to create this document. So I need to know what your next step in the process is going to be for accepting applications or appointing someone to those positions.
Good question, and I think that we need to move forward. I mean, the intent in doing this is to get notice out there, we need to get word out there, and all three of us can reach out to those people we know. Let's start getting some resumes and taking a look
Well,
at.
we're gonna advertise. I mean, do we have to do that legally? I mean, I would assume we have to put it on for some period of time.
I don't know if it's a legal requirement, but it's a good practice.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
people know about it, yeah.
So we gotta put it out there, so go ahead and.
It should avoid any future complaint by
Do you want
someone.
to advertise or just do a press release?
The last
Well,
time
what's the
for
difference?
complaint, well, an
Well,
ad
you
you have to
pay
pay
for
for,
the
a
ad.
press
You pay
release.
for
Oh,
the
I
ad.
see what you're saying, so, yeah. Well, I mean, what's it cost to put a,
Several $100s.
Yeah.
How much?
Several $100.
$100.
$700?
Several.
Are you kidding me? John's
Not
gonna
kidding.
gouge us that much for?
It goes by
And
word.
so are the other guys.
I don't know, I don't have any strong feelings about it. I think we could just put it in as a notice.
Issue a press release and see.
Put it on the county, put it on our
So put it
website.
on the
Yeah,
county
that's
website.
free.
That's what we did
Yeah.
with the last round of applications that you accepted
we
for the
found some,
planning
yeah.
commission.
Someplace that covers us, that we didn't act in secret on this, that we,
Yeah, there's nothing secret on it.
Then I will contact the help desk today and have them put the, there's a separate application for the mental health
Right.
appointments.
Yep.
Back on like we did before for the planning, and we'll draft a press release and send it out.
this is a question I'm just asking my fellow commissioners, and that is, should we put a notice on mental health? Ask them to put the same notice on their mental health website in case there's someone that is interested in that goes to that site and doesn't necessarily come to ours? Is
Yeah,
it-
the more, the merrier.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are people that have that in their best, and they're interested in, but if you guys say no, that's okay too, but I think if we put it on our county website and a press release, whatever, and then we put it there, we should get a cross-section of applicants. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, makes sense. I don't have a problem.
Okay.
Of the three appointments that are open, that will be open, one of them is reached term limit, so it cannot be reappointed.
Right.
The other one is my understanding that does not want to be reappointed, and the third one, we have not heard as of yet. So I have not received any recommendations as of yet from mental health.
Okay.
The only thing I would like to add is that if we can try to schedule a meeting with Tim Reed, you know, because I think that there's still some of the other existing members, other than some of the ones that maybe are stepping down as far as the appointment process, that I still think that we need to look at taking some action on, you know, to as far as, you know, negligence. So I'd like to try to schedule something that we could sit down with Tim to see what we need to do to proceed to, you know, to start the process of,
Yeah.
of potentially, you know, holding some of the other board members that, you know, I felt very strong about, that were negligent in their performance of, you know, doing the best, you know, to looking out for the best interest of the citizens of this county.
I could reach out to Tim and see, maybe you and he and I could get together.
Okay.
To simplify it, and then he could,
Okay,
you know, then you'd have a good idea of what he feels the possibility is to be able to take action.
okay.
I think it'd be a good thing to have the board there. I'd like to be a
We can
part
do
of
it
that
as a whole,
process. I'd
we
like
can do it
to-
all as an
I think we should review where we are
Okay.
in that whole thing, because we've got collected a lot of information, of which we have the thumb drive, I think, right?
Yeah.
Of all the data.
Yeah.
And so we need to look at that, and as Ralph was saying, I think that there's some opportunity there. We need to review that, and we probably should all have the opportunity to ask him questions about how solid our case is, da-da-da-da.
All right, I'll get some dates of availability out of him, and then I'll see what works for you guys as well.
You know, especially if we're gonna be getting all these, hopefully, you know, number of applicants that'll come forward on this, you know, that if we're gonna, you know, move forward on the removal of some of the other board members, then we'll be able to have another pool of people to,
Right.
to, you know, to be able to interview for. So it'll give us a bit of a, you know, understanding that, you know, instead of this many positions, we may be needing to fill this many positions, and then just kind of look at it from that perspective.
Yeah,
So,
all right, I'll give him a call.
Okay, is Carl Sarah here? I didn't know some of the guys sitting in the back there. Okay. I asked Bob Weisdeck to come in. We had a call, a voicemail from Carl Sayre having to do with the septic system guy that was apparently found wanting, and he went out and reached out to some people to give estimates about $25,000 to replace his existing septic system. A guy who's in retirement, living off Social Security in his retirement, and was having some challenges being able to pay for that and so forth. So we had a conversation. The long and the short of the conversation is, first of all, he was trapped in this new law that got created. Bob's trapped in this new law that got created. Our hands are tied to some degree. So I talked to Carl yesterday at length, twice, suggested he reach out to Sarah and to John to help pursue changing the law, because he has the opportunity potentially of fixing the system, but the law won't let him. In addition to that, there is an appeal process that I wanted Bob to make public, so that we're all very clear that there is an option and an opportunity if somebody's system fails outside of replacing it. There is an appeals process, and I asked Bob if he'd come in and explain that, so we'd all be very clear on that. Because given the law that just took effect in January, we're gonna see a lot more of these, I predict. And so we need to be prepared for people who are upset about the fact that they have to replace their septic system, may see us as a, you know, someplace to come and solve this problem for them. So, Bob, if you wouldn't mind, can you explain the appeals process and some of what's going on?
morning, Bob.
Morning, Bob.
Morning, how's everyone?
Good.
Doing better than I am then. Well, once again, as Commissioner Claypole said, there is so much in these new sewage rules that the state has passed. It's very difficult for everyone to have a complete handle on what's going on. But one of the items that then Senator Grandel put into the law is the ability or the requirement of every county to develop an appeals board. This appeals board, their ruling is final. There is no other remedy or recourse once this appeals board acts on a particular case. And the development of this appeals board starts out with there are 3 individuals that sit on this appeals board. One individual is an appointment by the probate judge within that county. Another appointee is appointed by me, which I am the health commissioner, and I took to the board to review to make sure that we all understand this individual is going to represent that part of the decision, and a representative from the Ohio Department of Health. Those 3 individuals, if there is something that sits outside of these rules, those 3 will gather the information and be able to have a hearing where the occupant or resident comes in, expresses his concerns, and sees and asks for a variance, if you would, through this appeals process. Now, once every county has been set up, the state requires every county to submit those names to the state, so they realize that if a hearing is to be held, that the state knows who the individuals are, the other 2 individuals. So there's 3 individuals that sit on this board. And the process is the way that I've looked at it in trying to develop all this new stuff. Of course, we have I think it's roughly 133 pages of the sewage rules. To be able to go through these and sit down is mind-boggling. And believe me, we've gone from 27 pages to 133 pages, which we had a discussion you were at over there the other, a couple months ago. And to try to know each and every little idiosyncrasy is almost impossible. But as we're working through this, the Board of Health says, okay, we have to have an appointee. So we did do that process. Now, that process is set up to where the 3 individuals have been appointed. Now, the real issue is, how do you go through an appeals process? I'll give you an example. If a homeowner says, gee, I would like to install a leaching train system on my property, however, it doesn't comply with what is in the sewage code. If the perched water table, which we've never had to address before, but now we do in this code, and is causing a lot of great concern, the individual would submit a request to make an application for a permit at the health department. The health department staff would review the material that's been submitted. Based on the state forms and the requirements within the code, the staff sanitarian would have to turn it down. At that time, the homeowner has the ability to come and ask the Board of Health for a variance in regards to that section of the code that it cannot meet. Well, after reviewing this code, the board's ability to grant a variance is very, very limited. Very limited. Therefore, and I'll put it in this context, most likely the board would have to deny that variance request. After that process would take place, the individual homeowner has 2 routes that they could travel. They could either go to the common pleas court and ask the judge to take a look at this, or they could take the route of the appeals board. Now, if they come and want to go to the appeals board, they would submit their data to me, which in turn I would hand it over to the chairperson of the appeals board committee. They at that time would take total control of what they want as a submission for information and data. And as they review down through this, there would be 3 individuals, as I said before. the appointee from the probate judge, the appointee that I did and the Board of Health agreed with, and a individual from the Ohio Department of Health. The chairperson would set the meeting dates, the different type of information that could be submitted for review. If they have an engineer or someone or a sewage installer that would like to submit data, then the chairperson would schedule those meetings. At the end of that meeting or meetings, the committee would take a vote. That vote is finalized and binding and cannot be challenged in court. Senator Grandel put that into the law, not the rules, the law, which gave us the ability to have an out, which I felt was a very good action on his behalf. He and I discussed this because we felt that the legislative body was going to pass the law. So that was a plus for us. And of course, you can look at it as a plus or a minus, because once again, the Ohio Department of Health, I think everyone sitting around this table and in this room knows that the rope has been put around our necks, and we are forced to follow that procedure of saying you have to go by this code. So we do have that ability to be able to go through that process in itself right there.
I've got a question for you.
Sure.
You said that if they're denied, there's two avenues that they could go. They could go to the common pleas court, or they could come to this appeals board. Once the appeals board rules on it, that's it, it's final. Does that mean that if the court were to rule on it, you could then still appeal it? Or is it either or makes the final decision, it's the final decision?
You're taking out of my area. You're taking me
No,
out of
okay,
my area.
okay, no, that's fine,
I'm gonna give you my opinion. This is Bob's opinion.
Yeah.
If you take it to court, the judge, I guess, could have a ruling, but in the court of law, you always have the ability to go to a higher court.
You can take it to the appellate court.
Right. But with this, like I say, if you go to court, there's that possibility. Like I say, I don't know. That's their forte. You know, they would know if if you're gonna go to the district court, the Supreme Court, the Ohio Supreme Court, whatever. But I do know in this process with the Sewage Appeals Board that once that board makes a ruling, that is it. It cannot be taken to court after that. That is what I am of the full opinion and have been told and directed.
Does the sewage board, is it guided by what the law requires or what's right? In other words, if the guy's got a leach field and it's working, and or if all he needs to do is pump out his tank to make it work, does the sewage board have the latitude to be able to make that decision?
I feel, from what I gather here now, the appeals board is going to gather all of the information, and hopefully they will use common sense. That's what I've always tried to implement, common sense. And even if the rules say that you have to have 6 inches isolation distance from the bottom of the trench to a perched water table, with the data that we've accumulated from the for sale of property, which is a 51-page report, which I know that the appeals board individuals have already seen that document. They may say, in this particular instance, this perched water table, we do not see it as an issue. Therefore, we would roll in the homeowner's behalf and be able to do it. The Ohio Department of Health cannot do anything about that, even if it does not comply with their code. That's what I am of the firm opinion and have been told.
So have you diagrammed this process? Could you hand somebody a little card that says, here, you can follow these steps?
We're in the process of putting this all together right now. This is all, I mean, some counties don't even have an appeals board listed yet. So we're ahead of the game. Yes, I do have a diagram in my office. I need to get that finalized by the board so everyone on the Board of Health fully understands the way this goes. We have numerous committees we have to set up through the Board of Health because of all these new requirements and operation and maintenance management in this code. This certainly is not a resident-friendly code at all. And trying to work through these items here and an item there and twist and change is gonna take some time, there is no doubt.
You know, what little bit of exposure I've had to this, and I talked to this gentleman yesterday at length, and then I talked to you, and I talked to Jim over at the apartment and so forth, and the nightmare that they created through this law, not only to impact the people in Geauga County detrimentally, but also the cost that this is going to bring. I mean, you talked about the increase in the document that guides all of this from 50-some pages to 20-some pages to some 100-some pages. Sometimes it boggles my mind what the state legislators are thinking.
Well, then Senator Grandel and I, we were out on the campaign trail, if you want to call it a campaign, just trying to inform people. I've said this for the last 5, 6, 7 years in the newspaper. You know, the state told us that the average cost of a residential sewage system was going to change very, very little. And the cost of that average system was going to be $8,500. And I even have their documentation where it has their logo on stating that. Well, it was pretty obvious to me when you're starting to look at all these mechanical devices, pumps, bells, bows, alarms, and everything else, that the cost was going to greatly increase. Well, our estimated cost was right around $21,000 to $25,000, which is actually what these people are going to end up paying for these systems. I think it's horrible. I think it's deplorable. I think it's disgusting. I've told them that to their face. I've been to the Senate numerous times warning them, what are we trying to do to our residents? I even went to JCAR. Judge Grandel was down there to give testimony at JCAR saying the same thing of what I did. When they laid out the criteria that they would allow you to talk to, it was incredible because it was like, we don't really care what your residents have to pay. I think somebody needs to wake up around here. I really do. It's a shame. And as you said, I deal with these individuals on a daily basis. And I do a lot of praying every night and every morning because we have an aging population that's on fixed income. They're on Social Security. They can't afford these, luxurious, environmental, mechanical, systems. We're not getting any better treatment than what we were with the system that we've had since I've been here 29 years.
I had a long talk yesterday with I got quite an education on septic systems yesterday, far more than I ever thought I'd ever have. And I talked to Jim, and he talked about aerobic versus anaerobic versus blah, 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 blah. Unbelievable to me. He was talking about the new systems and how ridiculous they are. It just, again, comes down to how stupid garbage gets to be. It's like these digital signs that we put on highways, which, by the way, if you're driving along and you get a digital sign that says, warning, fog ahead, which distracts you and you almost hit the truck because you stopped because of the stupid fog, it just points to the stupidity of government.
And what do we do with these elderly people that are trying to make a determination? Do I pay for my heat bill? Do I pay for my electric bill, my medicine? or do I put in a sewage disposal system? This Board of Health and myself and my staff are trying to work around things to be able to give people the benefit of the doubt. If you have something that works, you don't throw it out and start all over. I feel horrible because we have that type of population here. And we gonna throw them out of their house? That doesn't make me feel well.
Well, I encouraged Carl yesterday to get a hold of Sarah and John. I encouraged him to get a hold of you, go through the appeals process. And, anybody who calls the office, I suggest we have them do the same thing. The more calls that we get down to the state senate and the state house to let them know that the law that they made has got impact to it, they need to hear about this, and then we deal with it. We have to figure out how to, let people know what they need to do.
Do we have a log or someone keeping a log of the calls that come in from people with their complaints and so on, and the calls that come into you? So that if we have to go at some point in time downstate or to talk to representatives or something, we have something more concrete than, oh, we get these calls all the time. We've had 150 residents that have encountered these issues. I mean, it doesn't have to be something that's too involved, but just some kind of a call-in log where people are registering complaints or issues that are arising for them because of that legislation, that we can then say, well, hey, don't believe me, call these 150 people.
I have kept almost every phone call that has come into my office for probably the last 25 years. If I slide my door open, I have them taped on yellow tablets, 11 and a half by 8. Okay, I have, I think, 25 years worth. And that documentation lists whether when they call me, it's either sewage or whatever. So I could pull that file out, it's about that tall.
Yeah, that's all I'm
And you
asking
can
is
get
if we
done.
have
Yes.
something that when push comes to
No, not
shove.
every one, but the
A number.
majority. Yeah, oh, yes, sir.
I mean,
We
yeah.
definitely have a number.
Few may have slipped through the cracks,
Right.
but if that's a common defense mechanism. Well, there's 1 million people that want to do this, well, give me 1 million names,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
well, we got 10, that's, but it seems like if our representatives are representing us, now, having said that, we're outnumbered by the people who have sewers, who live in the metropolitan areas, who really don't care. They're doesn't affect them, so why would they screw around with this? But I would think if we have documentation of the numbers of incidents that arise, it would be beneficial when we make our argument.
Yes, we do have,
Okay,
like I
that's-
say, in my office, I
Thank
can
you.
show you the tablets.
Well, I was kind of off guard a little bit, because I called yesterday and said, hey, did you get a call from Carl? And he said, well, no, but I got a call from, and you listed off 6 names yesterday. I said, well, if we're getting 6 calls a day, I mean, I don't know how many you're gonna get, to Blake's point. But it is, I just feel it's a gut thing. It's not, I don't have anything to back it up yet.
Well, when
This
when
law is gonna
these-
create a problem for us.
I'm sorry. When these new rules came in, I mean, the phone calls are fast and furious. I am also in the process trying to work a video, educational video, to where we can put it on the website for every different type of sewage system we have. But like I say, once again, with limited staff and trying to get everything done at one time, the documents that they put out are rather tremendous. You probably, I think you all know Chip Hess. Well, I was on the phone with Chip the other day, and I'm talking to Chip, and I said, Chip, I'm depending on you to give me some information on this. And he started laughing. He goes, Bob, I haven't even gotten that far yet on a question pertaining to curtain drains and etc. So this is a learning curve, there's no doubt about it. And when they started throwing this stuff together, I sat there and shook my head and go, how did we go from, the homeowner with their own maintenance now to this is almost, you better have a maintenance service contract sitting in that department, because that's coming. Every sewage system in this county is going to be evaluated, and they want it on a yearly basis. And that's one of the discussions that I'm having with my board right now. I laid it out, there's about 6 or 7 different areas of systems that have no permit information, systems that have aeration units, systems that discharge off of the property. And with OEPA taking over under the 1988 Clean Waters Act, they're claiming every bit of water that's coming off your property, they want control over, and you're gonna pay for it one way or another. So that might be a new revelation you're gonna hear, but it's coming. I have a friend in Baltimore, and he's paying a rainwater tax right now. And if we think that it's a joke, believe me, they put it on your tax return and you pay for it. So
We tried to do that in Cleveland here recently.
well, I knew that was coming in Cleveland, but they're already paying it. So pretty soon they're gonna require everybody to have a meter on your belt. And every year you put a quarter in the meter to pay OEPA for the air you're breathing. Sorry, but that's basically where this whole thing's going.
Speaking of air, we're in a non-attainment zone now, air quality wise.
I knew you were switching subjects.
I switched the subject, but you were talking about what rainwater tax and yada, yada, yada.
But
Well,
that's-
Well, I've got you in the hot seat. Can you turn the light on, Dave? I'm gonna put the spotlight on.
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
I was having a conversation with Kurt Pritzik, who's, you know who Kurt is, right, our EPA district manager, whatever. And we're in a non-attainment zone. That was a recent thing because the federal EPA just changed the rules, which we fought. The state of Ohio fought. We sued them, said, no, you can't change these rules, da-da-da-da. We lost, as well as some other states lost because the federal EPA is much stronger. Which the result of that was we're in a non-attainment zone. Well, there's some thought that our sensor, which is located up on Notre Dame, has not been sited properly, that contributes to our non-attainment. And so Kurt had mentioned the fact that there's a siting requirement, and then I should talk to you, and maybe we can get that recited.
Well, if I remember correctly, about 10 years ago, then Senator Grandel and I made an issue about that monitoring measurement mechanism sitting at Notre Dame should be moved. EPA agreed with me and said, Bob, we can move it anywhere you want to move it. But here's the criteria. You have to get someone in that township, that's agreeable to take that monitoring unit and set it up.
Put it on top of our water tower by the dog warden.
Well, we can get back into that subject because I talked to some township trustees. Whoa, I don't want that in, I have to.
It also impacts, by the way, our e-check.
Well,
So-
and that's
so
quite
we
obvious.
can do away with e-check.
And I agree with you 100 total %. And I looked and talked to some townships that says, hey, would you agree to get it out of there? That's not a very good area. My background's respiratory physiology, pulmonary pathophysiology. So I fully understand, and Tim and I talked about that, and it says, hey, if we can find somewhere to get it moved, let's get it out of there. Yes, is it affecting the test results? I would say yes, but EPA would say, oh, no, because that's the only site that where that unit's located now.
Kurt's
So
EPA actually agreed that probably is influencing the outcome of the test. So why don't
that's
we-
the first time thing, that's news to me,
I don't
because
wanna-
usually when I call, oh, no.
Why is it there?
Why is it a bad spot?
Well, you got the buses
Buses
come right
exhausted
in,
in
and
the
you got
parking lot,
the meter
and
right there, and the bus fumes
The
go right
kitchen
up.
and
All the
I heard
fumes
about
coming off the roof.
fumes, the kitchen.
Exactly.
It was, I don't know why it was ever put there, except maybe it was easy to get a truck over there.
Where's it at exactly there, Bob? I never really paid, is it a big unit or something?
No,
It's just a little sensor.
yeah, it's just a sensor, and it takes readings of the particulate matter, okay? So with the fumes, and just like Blake's saying, you got all of the other, you have the vapors and the steam and et cetera coming off the roof of the building, and then it gives us a bad reading. Well, wouldn't you think so?
We don't wanna put it next to this building on the other side of the fence.
Well, I was thinking of really putting it on them.
Yeah, we're across the fence here, where you walk out the door and you go, whoa, what's that?
If we could get somewhere that would be able to accept it. Now, I understand that there's an electric bill that goes with it, I don't know.
Probably minor. I mean, I'm thinking even our 800 megahertz radio towers.
Well, somewhere in the center of the county,
Maybe we
makes
move it
it-
to the sheriff's.
I could bring that back up, gentlemen, and I would support you that I do want it out of there. But, well, you know,
Get us-
once
get us
again,
the
there's
requirements.
limitations.
Get us the requirements, so we know what the setting requirements are.
Yeah.
And then we'll help you to find a location. That is to be.
We're always gonna have some skewed results there, because we're west, or east of the,
We're downwind
of
of
Cleveland and the metropolitan areas. Prevailing winds from the west
I think we need to.
are gonna blow this crap over toward us regardless,
Can we
but
send an invoice for our non-attainment? Let's just send Cleveland.
putting it in a more rural,
What about with
rural
the park
area.
district over there where they have that, the observatory thing?
Yeah.
Where it's.
Over in Hunts Park,
Oh, that's a nice idea.
is that where you're talking
Off
about?
of Clay Street or whatever it is, where that observatory park
No,
is.
it's patrol.
I mean, I'm willing to support you and work to get it out of there, cause I feel that it does taint the results that we
I
have.
can't-
And the criteria of where it has to go to be representative.
It'd be nice to see what it looks like, because it could be, you know, because now they've got these super high telephone poles with some device on them
Yeah,
around the
right.
county. It could be as simple as just going out away from buildings,
Right.
sinking a phone pole or utility pole in the ground, bringing a power line out to it, mounting the thing on the side of the pole, out in a more representative environment in Geauga County. I mean, putting it near any parking lot in Geauga County, because I don't have a parking lot at my house, and that's where I'm breathing.
Are you saying you want it at your house?
No,
Oh, okay. I
no,
was
if you
just
think it, no.
I was just messing.
No, I know, we're having a discussion here. I'm just saying, it just doesn't seem like putting it in a environment that's naturally gonna have some stuff is not the same as having it where most of us live, is out in a more,
That's congested area.
yeah, less
Yeah.
congested, I was gonna say
And
sparsely,
I
but
would
that's not
agree
true.
with your comments, I would agree.
It doesn't have to be sitting on a building particularly, or anything existing.
Put it at
If
the
we
ball
could-
fields at the Munson Town Hall. Middle of the woods, there's
Now,
no.
you have to understand, you have to get other people to cooperate and say, yeah, we'll
Bob,
accept it.
we'll take care of that. You just
Oh,
tell us
you
what
take
the
care of
requirements
that.
are.
You put it at a ball field, some kid's
Okay.
gonna hit a foul ball up and hit that darn thing.
All right.
One way or another, Bob's
Sooner or
gonna get
later,
blamed
it's
no
gonna-
matter what happens. I think all of us sitting around this
Sooner or
table
later, it's
know
gonna
that.
get corked, like the hood of your car and the windshield and everything else.
But I think if we can get it in a better conducive environment, I think it would behoove all of
And
us.
then you can help us to understand what it will take to get rid of E-check. So, because if we can come down below the,
You're really loading the work on me here.
I'm not gonna say it on television, but I know what it'll do.
all right, well, thanks, Bob, I appreciate you coming over.
Is there any other,
Thank
I
you.
won't say is there any other comments, I'm gonna ask, is there any other questions pertaining to what I said?
Nope.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
Bob.
Y'all have a good day.
We're gonna put a big sign out front, we get that blank sign, by the way.
What's that?
Just see Bob if you got a problem.
When in
That's the
doubt,
way it's been here for quite some time.
If you have a complaint, see Bob.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you.
All right. Speaking of complaints, you gentlemen have seen a letter from NOACA indicating they wanted to reduce Geauga County representation on NOACA by one person. And by the way, it's not just Geauga County, it's Medina also. Had a conversation with Medina this morning. So their, Cleveland just wants to, I don't know.
Take the money.
Just take, well, they're already taking the money. They don't need to do that. They're doing it just because they're being jerks, I think. It's just my opinion on it. You know, they already have all the votes they need. They don't need our additional vote and Medina's additional vote. We have two conservative counties on that board, and they just want to stick their finger in our eye. So,
I'm under the impression that that has to be ratified.
Oh, it
under
does.
The current
And
agreement, which
so-
is, as
and
long
what-
as we vote and Medina vote no, they're just
Yeah.
wasting ink and paper.
But they could try to change the bylaws to allow them to do that, and they've tried that before. They tried that last year to change the bylaws to give them full ratification. Then they tried to add Cleveland to give themselves more power. And so you see where they're going. It's just a tyranny in action. But I just thought I'd point that out. I'm sure you guys saw the letter. So with that said, we got a NOACA board meeting this Friday, 9 o'clock. Family First Council, the 15th, the Planning Commission meeting tonight, which has been canceled apparently. Geez, I'm really looking forward to that. And then the Commissioners meeting the 16th, and the NOACA Air Quality, Transportation, and Water Quality meetings the 19th, the Board of Revision meeting on the 22nd, regular session on the 23rd, regular session on the 25th, Board of Revision on the 29th, and then regular session on the 30th. If there's nothing else,
I move to adjourn.
any questions, comments from the peanut gallery? No? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.